All right. Hey, it's Pryl, and welcome back to my channel where we explore both the highs and the lows of how I have had several experiences throughout my path to self discovery. And we also go into how I'm learning to embrace an uncomplicated life full of balance, boundaries, and joy. All right, so please tell me that you saw the thumbnail before you came up in here. If you see that picture, it is of me in the car earlier and me 2 days after I left corporate. I mentioned it in my last live, how I had anxiety, high blood pressure, my face was completely broken out, and my eyes were sad. That little thing that I had going on in the mouthful region was my attempt at a smile because my natural instinct see it happens right now, my natural instinct is to smile, but that's all the little smile that I could muster. But the reason that I chose that today, and we are definitely going to talk about self-sabotage in a few weeks, but i I'm doing a 30 days of gratitude for Black Women Challenge, and I have a playlist. I will go ahead and link it once we hop off this live in the description. But I'm batch recording in between, my auditions and my sessions, and self prioritization was something that I did Tuesday. That I recorded on Tuesday, and I really thought about it. I thought about the picture. I thought about as I was going over the questions, and I ask myself the same questions each day that I ask you to ask yourself during the 30 Days of Gratitude videos. And so I was asking myself the questions, and I'm like, whoa, I think that this is something that I need to talk about a little bit deeper, and also provide some very, very simple, practical ways for you to apply them today, like things that you can start doing today, to be able to, you know, begin these habits. As I mentioned last week, I talked about these very small incremental habits that build the foundation of the year of self, or really build the foundation of any habit that you are looking to build or change or expand that benefits you and only you, and not someone else. And that's something that is not comfortable to us. Most of us that are watching, we are Black, high performing women that had the good jobs, that checked all the um, Black excellence boxes, that also checked off all the what makes a good wife, what makes a good partner, what makes a good respectful child, honor your father and your mother. And we've done these things so much that the concept of doing things, oh, okay, sorry, but thought I put my phone on vibrate. But the things that we are so used to doing, it makes it really difficult to add in this huge change. So, what I am walking each of us through, so walking you through, and also going through it myself, is building some new habits, creating these new habits, building that foundation so that we can make these big old changes. Okay, so let me first talk about self prioritization, because it is definitely a large term. It's a global term, but in a nutshell, it is putting yourself first. Last week, I read the definition of what Oxford, what the Oxford Dictionary over in England says is selfish, and the American definition. And the Oxford definition centers on you, the words you, the things that are important to you, putting yourself first. Whereas the American version of the definition for selfish is negative. It's all negative. And when you think about the root word of self, it's us. It's not even directed at other people. And that is what they have convinced us, that if we are selfish, if we do for ourselves, then that's a bad thing, because it's a give and take. It's an absolute. Either you put yourself first, or you put other people first like you're supposed to. There's no gray area, there's no balance in between that. And therefore, who wants to be someone who's self-centered? Which, that root word, what's wrong with that? That means that that I'm at the center, but whatever. But they being, I guess, America et al, Western American culture, and also, I'm gonna put this in and I'm gonna keep it pushing. But the church has us convinced that we have to put others first, that is how it should always be. So the concept of putting yourself first is a foreign one. Or you're at that other end of the spectrum. There's plenty of people who can put themselves first very easy. Those are the people who are at this end of the scale of selfishness. They really don't care about anyone else. They make themselves the center of everything. They disregard other people's feelings, um, to a fault. Whereas when it's balanced there, and you can have both, you can put yourself first while also having enough to give to other people. It's like the example of that cup and saucer, right? They say you're supposed to give to people from your saucer. Your cup needs to be filled and it overflows. And the overflow is what you have to give other people. We have it backwards. Oh, let me speak for myself. I had it backwards, okay? I viewed it as I give from my cup to everyone else. And if there's anything left, that's what I get. But here's the thing, let's talk about kind of the next iteration of this, the feelings that come with self-prioritization. So you've decided that your cup is going to be full, and I'm going to make sure that I give from the overflow. I always say, get your 2 cups, okay? One in each hand. And then if there's something left over for other people, because, and I'm cutting up a little bit when I say that. Of course, we love our family, we love our friends, we love our partners. Some of y'all may even love your jobs, but we mean it not in the casual, sense of the word. Oh, I love this, I love that for you, I love it, I love it. No, we mean it with the true commitment way. Like, we love, and what comes with love is typically juxtaposed against a completely opposite definition. So we impose that on ourselves because it's been imposed on us, that we have a choice. And the choice usually ends up with us getting the short end of the stick. Now, let me get back to the emotions. The fact that you say, okay, this is it. I'm going to start making myself a priority. I'm going to begin putting myself first. And then there is a cycle of emotions that you go through. Do I still have this? Hold on 1 second. I wrote this down. Oh, I don't see it. Okay, I'm gonna put it in the comments, in the video description. But it's essentially where you go from, like, in the different stages of, I guess, convincing and justifying yourself when you start doing something for you and you alone. Okay. And I mean things that benefit only you, things that make you happy. Yes, if you shared it with someone else, it would probably make them happy. They would probably enjoy it. It would probably benefit their well being. We're not talking about them. Okay. We're talking about us. I'm talking about you. Okay. So for me, at least, I'm going to run down kind of my little stages. At first, I didn't do it at all. I did not put myself first, period. If I did, okay, now we're going into okay, let me consider myself. I felt so guilty. I mean, so guilty. Like, stomach knotted up guilty. And many times it made me scurry away from doing it. All right. So now I'm at the point where I'm doing these things that benefit me and only me. And I say that, we'll use that term loosely, okay, until we get further down. But for me, I was doing these like little baby things, low dollar things, because again, I still felt guilty. It still felt wrong. I felt like I was doing something wrong. I felt like, me having means taking from someone else. Excuse me, even though I'm the only one giving. Okay, and it's dynamic, but I still felt bad. Then the guilt started to become less and less and less. Then I moved into justification. And I had to justify why. And there's some overlap. If you imagine it's on like a gradient. So I had to come up with reasons why. And I had a long list of why I deserve something, why, you know, I've earned it, things like that. And I'm not knocking, I started smiling a little bit because it makes me chuckle, to think how I went from like, well, this is what I need to be doing, to the guilt when I did it, to the justification, this long, like Santa Claus Christmas scroll list. And then how the list got shorter and shorter and shorter. And last fall, I told my therapist that I'm ready to move to the next gradient. My list is whittled down so much of justifying, and I'm tired of justifying it. Now it feels wrong. Before, when I went through each of those stages, I knew when it was time to move and start looking out for the next one, because it felt like I was forcing it. And when I was forcing it, that made me pause and say, okay, well, if I'm forcing it, maybe I need to move to the next. And again, the BGs, the whooping feeling in my stomach, the nervousness, the anxiety, the uncomfortable, that's a good word for it, uncomfortable feelings that went, the myriad of feelings that I went through. And last fall, I said, I want to go from this little tiny little, remnants, crumbs of a list, to doing things because I want to. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Doing things, even, okay, look, you see how I did this? Like my body language is changing because this is something that I was like ramping up to and begin doing in December. So I'm in this version. It's all the same steps, and I had to, start back at one. Okay. And yeah, it is a hierarchy that's involved, but I still have to repeat these processes. I still have to go back to the fundamentals and the foundation and use those tools, use the things that I know, the strategies to be able to do this. It makes me uncomfortable when I do something for myself and only myself, because I challenge myself to do things that would be considered like dream vacations, or well, when I retire, or when my son gets older. Like the goalpost steady moves. And I'm challenging myself to spend money. And I mean money on myself because I want to. Again, if you think about how I kind of got to this place, I'm like, well, it was, the Coco Panini. So everybody was kind of grounded for a couple of years. Well, that I was building up my business. Well, in 2023, I already went to 3 different countries. So maybe I'll just start with like 3 or more in 2024. And I realized again, I was scrambling. I was grasping at straws because I needed that. That was like my last lifeline to that security. But again, it was this like push and pull. It was not natural. It was completely unnatural. And even though I did it with the whooping feeling, I did it scared of the unknown, because again, I've never been in this place. I know the places where I've come from. I know that I've done it several times before, so I can do it again. But that was with me checking off all of my goals and milestones. This is something that didn't exist this time last year. A whole completely different version of myself that now I'm working towards. And I'll tell you, it's tough. It's tough. As I've mentioned many times for those of you who watch, but I was a teen mother. I got pregnant at 16, had my son at 17, went off to college at 18. So for many, many years, I had to do it because I was taking care of my son. I'm going to put my son first. There's also a lot of guilt and shame for that I carried with me for many, many years from, having sinned against God, being shunned and excommunicated at the church that we went to at the time. All of these things that were deep, deep hurts. And so I felt as if I could like do good deeds to get myself out of being a child and being a sinner and a fornicator and all these other things. And that God was punishing me and teaching me a lesson and testing me by me having this child and deciding not to give him up for adoption, but to keep him. So that's just giving you a little insight to how I was able to do everything for my son, but it got to a point where my son gets older, he doesn't need as much. Then he started getting really independent and had friends and, going to sleepovers and stuff. Then he started driving. He'd be gone for the weekend. He's kicking it with his friends. I see him on Friday after school. I tell him to text me, let me know you're good when you get there. Come back on Sunday, before 1, before 2. So again, as you can see, these like steps, they got me further away, and I hung on to it with the kung fu grip, okay, until it was time for me to let go. So I shared that with you because I can't stand when people say this, but sometimes it has to be said. Do I know your exact permutation and combination of circumstances? No. But if we go apples to apples, we're going to have many of the same things, the same emotions, the same experiences that led us to certain places on our list. So, okay, now that I've done that, let me go ahead and check real quick in the comments. Hello, thank you, Pisces. Hello, Jace. Glad you could join us live. Yeah, and oh dear. I'm on the sick and shut-ins list, y'all, so I'm going to need you to bear with me. Water ain't going to help me today. Okay, I'm tripping. Let me show this comment. Okay, so Jace said that she can relate. It's hard, even more when you have kids, because we do tend to put them first. And, again, that's what I was saying. In society, forget the church. Hold on, I don't mean it like that, but forget what we experience in church. Let's take it to society as a whole. Like that was a horrible reflection on coming from a 2-parent household. I was raised to be a good girl. Both my parents have, all this education. So all of the things, the Black excellence boxes, and how dare she? She's so young. I mean, I look like, not being funny, I look like I was 11 or 12 years old, pregnant with this big old belly. My son was 10 pounds, 4 ounces, 22 and a half inches long. I was 5 feet tall. I rounded up when I had him. So I looked like, everybody was looking. First of all, because my belly looked like I had a beach ball under there, but also because I looked so young. So that made it even worse. Like, look, we're not about to go there because I don't like to start dumping those things on. But the point is, society told me I had something to prove because the church told me I wasn't going to be blessed, that I wasn't going to succeed. And then I had something to prove because my family didn't support it. And I was on my own. I was a lone wolf for many, many years because I had something to prove. I was going to show them. And a lot of those negative experiences are what fueled me to greatness. So that's something else I told my therapist, is that I want to hit all these milestones, to have all these things that I feel good about, that bring me happiness and bring me joy without the baggage of what somebody did to me being my motivation. Again, doing something because I want to, period, full stop, no dot, 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 no comma, because I want to. And that's really, the place where I am right now. So I'm going to go ahead and knock out these. I have my notes here. So I'm going to knock out these 7 things that you can start doing today. You know how I feel about that. Like, I'm going to tell you something. You can pick 1, 2 for my fellow overachievers. Okay, keep me in your prayers. But you can put all of them on your list to be able to start doing. But I really, when I do these 7 ways or 5 ways, 10 ways, 5 things like that, it's really, yes. Pisces say 10 pounds and 4 ounces. Okay. Put some respect on them 4 ounces. Okay. But I like to tell you things that really are designed to start like provoke thought in you, to start things percolating, because I can sit and tell you stories all day, because I have a whole bunch. I can sit and tell you, thus saith Pryl, this is what you need to do, you should do. No, I want you to hear the things that I outline. We hear my stories when I weave in how this what I'm talking about is applicable and shows up in my life, what it looked like for me. And then I want you to step back and think, okay, so how does this show up for me in my life? Where can, like today, where can I fit some of these things in my life and really step back? And you got to go back as far as you need to really think about what made you smile. When was the last time you smiled? When was the last time you laughed? Okay. See, I almost did it. I almost laughed, because I laugh and I smile all the time. I've been like that. Life has tried to stomp that out of me. People have tried to conform that out of me. And when I am, one way I can tell that I'm not really feeling my best is when I'm not when I'm not singing or playing some music, when I am not laughing as much, when I'm not smiling. And how do I know that? It's because if I laugh, I hear it and it's kind of like, whoa. And then that always like vroom, brings me like to center. It brings me to the place where I'm like, oh snap, I've not laughed in a while. Like, girl, you good? And I check in with myself, which is one of the things on the list. Oh, it's the first thing. Okay, look, see, that's how I'm doing it. All right. So check in with yourself. I recommend doing a daily check-in. And this doesn't mean that you need to do this long, drawn-out process. It can be, if that's your style. You can even make a checklist. But think of some things that you can do to check in for yourself. So I've got here on my list, take a few moments to run down like the self-check. When you take your car to the dealer or you take it wherever, they're like, oh, we did the courtesy check. And anything that may be a little off on that is an indicator that, me seeing cracks in your tires, me looking at the thickness of what's left on your brake pads, you may need new brakes soon. So again, I'm a very visual person. So if that doesn't work for you, it's fine. I'm just about to rattle it off. So ask yourself, first of all, how are you feeling? Like, I think that we, again, I've only lived here long term. So we as Americans tend to ask each other. And again, Jace, you can let me know if they do this overseas where you are. But we tend to say, hey, how are you? How are you? Hey, how's it going? So I've never been one for small talk. So I don't ask people how, like, I don't care. That probably sounds rude when I do. Let me put it this way. I'm not much for small talk. So I don't ask everybody, how are they? How are they doing? How was their weekend? When I do ask, it's intentional because I really, truly want to hear the answer. So check in with yourself. Ask yourself, how are you feeling? Have you had the proverbial oil change? When was the last time you looked at your tires? When was the last time you changed some filters? Things like that. When was the last time that you actually asked yourself, how are you feeling? Are you happy? Like, why does that bother you so much? Check in with yourself. Something else that we don't tend to do is ask ourselves, what do I need? We ask other people that all the time. You need anything else? Okay, let me know. If I have guests over, okay, are you good? When I like my team, I ask them, all right, you need anything else? Because I'm getting ready to hop off for the day or whatever. We are so quick to ask other people, what do they need? Again, the cup saucer analogy. If there's any drops left over, or is that cup and saucer bone dry? Do we even know what we need? So one of the things you can do when you're checking in with yourself, ask yourself, how are you feeling? Ask yourself, what do you need? And then pause sometimes. I call this being intentional. Like, intentionally look at your surroundings, look at the conversations you're having, look at the things that you're consuming, and just begin to, take notice of them and say, is this really what I need right now? Why am I watching, TGIF every single day, listening to all this mess when I don't even care. Like right now, could I be feeding myself with something else? Could I go outside, touch some grass, breathe some air, do something for myself? So again, three things when you do your daily check-in, you can start with how are you feeling? What do you need? And what are you doing in your life that maybe is misaligned from what your goals are. And speaking of goals, that's the third one. Let me say real quick, delegate some things. Delegation to some people is my stop volunteering for work. Okay. When we are on a job, that's the easiest way I can think of. We're on a job, we volunteer for more work. Stop volunteering. When you're at church, even if they say, oh, okay, Sister Pryl, we're going to need you to make 10-pound cakes and can you make some cobbler too? And normally I would be like, oh, okay. Or at work, hey, we really need this done. And I know you can do it. I know you can get it done. You're clutch. I know you can do it because you always meet these deadlines. I trust you. You're the only one who can do it. Okay, I'll do it. Or even when you're sitting in a meeting at your, committee, at the HOA association, you feel almost compelled to raise your hand and volunteer for things. That's not how it's supposed to be. Because what that does is set a precedent for we are telling people how to interact with us. There's that adage, people treat you how you allow them to treat them, how you allow them to treat you. So same thing. People are going to have expectations and give you all the work that you have historically volunteered for or said, yes, you'll do it. So start doing some of those things. And also in the true sense of the word, begin delegating. It could be something as simple as I got all these papers. I'm going to buy a shredder, or do I need to take it to the local shred it? I am so sick of cleaning this house. So hire a housekeeper to come maybe once a month. Um, you know, I'm done leaving. This is the last year that I'm leaving vacation on the table. Start by taking one of your breaks, then two of your breaks, and then your lunch every single day. Again, start and just build on it. The next one that I was talking about is you want to prioritize your goals. And these all kind of work within each other. How do you know what your goals are? How do you know what you need? How do you know what you want if you are not asking yourself and checking in? And if you are not taking some things off your plate? That is, saying no even is also aligned with boundaries. And we're going to dig deep into boundaries next month. But I want to make sure that I bring that up now. No is my favorite word. And now I say it without a second thought, but I was like a toddler at some point. No. 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 Now I just say no guilt. No, like, well, are they going to think less of me? Oh, well, let me just rearrange some things to accommodate them. No, it's no now. And I don't think anything of it. No, thank you. And I say that and I keep it pushing. All right. Number 4 is shut it all down. Go somewhere and sit still. Okay. That's my way of saying, like, have you taken time where you literally and emotionally shut it down? I'm talking about put your phones on do not disturb. And this could be for 5 minutes. It could be for 1 minute. But when was the last time that you actually sat still and not sat still while thinking about, how long is this? Because I got my phone. I need my phone. Like, unplug from your phone. I know it's hard, but guess what? Many of us, or I should say many of y'all that watch my channel, we remember before, during, and after cell phones, with after being, the mess that our children got today. Okay. So again, take some time, and maybe this is when you are doing your daily check-in, but take some time to truly be still, unplug, and disconnect. Okay. The next thing, number 5, engage in some hobbies. This is where you may have to go back a little ways, because many of us, we are like, work is our life. Our family is our life, our church, our community, our friends, our whatever, all external things make up us. Okay. We're looking to undo that. Like, no mas. Okay. And it doesn't mean that everybody's getting cut off and shut down. No, it means that you are viewing all the things that you do to other people, the value that you bring on your job, the value that you bring to your friends and family and loved ones. Bring that value to yourself. And what are some hobbies that you've been wanting to do? Well, such and such got baseball practice, and then I need to do this and I need to do that, so I can't do it. No. What is something that you really want to do? And I mean something that makes you smile. Let me tell you what mine is, because I can't help it. I'm thinking about it. Mine was learn how to do silks and like the acrobatic hoops. I did it for a little while. Life got to life in. It was maybe about 10 years ago. Life got to life in, and I stopped with life and me getting divorced. So funds were tight, and I chose, again, it's about intentions and being conscious when we do things. I chose to, again, okay, now I got a divorce. Oh man. So now I'm back to being a sole single parent again. My son doesn't deserve this upheaval. He deserves a 2-parent household. So now I'm going to shift everything towards making sure he's good, that he's got all the, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, the Xbox Live subscriptions, got all the latest video games. But, what about me? And what about my silks and the acrobatic hoops? So that's one thing that I have on my list to do when I get to San Miguel de Allende. So ask yourself, what are some habits? What are some hobbies? Well, that too. What are some hobbies that you need to make a habit? Like, what is something that you've always wanted to do? It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter how other people may view it. So if you start thinking like, well, that's silly. It's silly to who? It makes you smile. Like, who cares about what other people think? You'll get there, okay? I'm like 99.5% there. And I think it's healthy to, of course, you have to care about how you appear, but I don't let what other people's opinions are of me, how they may potentially respond to my choice, stop me from doing it. So what are some hobbies, okay? What are some hobbies that you want to engage or re-engage in? The next thing, I cannot have any type of live without mentioning community, and wait for it, community. My community that I have are different branches of the Exodus Summit. And you all know that that is where the nucleus is for me, because that's what I was introduced to first. I'm working on getting some more lady friends, which is why I'm looking forward to having in-person community and conversations in San Miguel. But some of you may have friends that you love and they love you, that for whatever reason you haven't been in contact with. Get back in contact with them. People that love you, they're rooting for you. Sit those thoughts. Again, we are so busy thinking about looking out for and thinking about other people's feelings. Again, we are projecting because we really don't know. And spare them from worrying about us. Spare them from, thinking that they need to help us. Whereas I love taking help now. If there's any help, again, delegating help, please and thank you. And also, I don't try to think, I don't care about being strong anymore. I no longer view things either I'm strong or I'm weak. Because to be honest with you, choosing not to be strong really was the hardest and most difficult thing for me. So if you want to talk about strength, it's not wearing the cape. It's not putting everybody first. The true strength, I flipped it, shifted my perspective, and the true strength comes from me doing for me. Me, doing things that make me happy, that bring smiles to my faces, that do not involve other people's feelings. I think about myself first. And now it's like weird if I'm thinking about other people. I'm like, okay, and, all right. So get yourself into community with, now, hold on, let me preface this because I don't want you being out there saying, well, Pryl said to give myself a community. So I signed up at the community center and then I started volunteering in church. Again, we want to think about this is not about making more work, making more stress, adding things to our list. This is really about, this might sound weird, but I think you'll get it. This is actually about creating a list that is going to take emotional stuff off our plate, take these feelings, take us always being there to support other people. So it's going to take a whole lot of stuff off of our plates because it's not about adding more stress. It's about adding more ease. It's about doing things that change your perspective, which changes your spirit and your attitude, which changes your life view, which changes your habits, which at that point, you're doing things that make you happy and bring you joy. All right. And number 7, this is something that I definitely struggled with. And it is celebrating my achievements, big and small. And I would say probably like 2015 was when I started addressing at least one part of this. And that is putting down or diminishing a lot of these little things that have big impacts, or taking these big things that other people are saying are so great and so big. And again, being humble, because church teaches us we got to be humble. Society teaches us that women shouldn't brag. Women shouldn't be loud. Women, should be whatever it is. I don't know. I've never been that kind of woman. So, so I really don't know, but I did my best to be that version of what woman of what I should be, or what everybody else thinks that I should be. And that led to me downplaying a lot of things and downplaying myself. When people congratulate us for something, let me ask you this, because again, this is from my perspective. But if people congratulate you on something, hold on, let's take it back, because this is where it started with compliments. If someone compliments you on something you're wearing, something you're done, that you've done, whatever it is, if someone gives you a compliment, is your reaction thank you, period? Or is your reaction to say, oh, not being funny, but this whole thing, I bought this at the rave back in 1993. And because my mother told me how to take care of clothes, because, yes, this is a polysynthetic blend, but it's not like this new stuff that they do now. Or I got this on sale, again, justifying why I have something. And I'm gonna give you an example of when I did that. I typically have 2 cars, like a truck or an SUV and a sedan. And I remember the last time I did this was when it was someone's boyfriend, as a matter of fact, and we were on a double date. And he said, did you get rid of your truck? I was like, no, I still have it. And he was like, but you have that Benz. And I'm like, yeah, I got that too. He's like, well, why does one person need 2 cars? And I'm like, because I want 2 cars. And then my friend chimed in and she said, because she had 2 cars as well. She was one of the first people that I meet that has 2 cars and doesn't think it's weird. And she said, because she takes care of business. Unlike you. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's between you all. But that was the first time that I was like, because this is what I want. Now, again, it was what I had always done, but it was still a glimpse into like, this is why should I feel bad about, my success in life? Again, that was when I was using success like that. Why should I feel bad for how hard I worked to get something? So again, when people give you a comment, do you say thank you, or does it compel you to downplay it, diminish it? Another example of how downplaying things led to me playing small is I am naturally an introvert. And many times people think that introverts, they conflate being shy with being an introvert. And there's definitely the overlap. You know how I feel about Venn diagrams. So put the Venn diagram, there's definitely something in the center of it, but they're not, one doesn't necessarily mean the other. And for me, the easiest way I can explain it is extroverts need to be around other people to power their battery, like to charge them up, to make them feel good. And I don't mean in the like, gas them up type of way, but they feel their best when they are around people. So, true extroverts struggled during the Coco Panini. They struggled when after that they're like, well, we've been out of the office for a year and a half, so we're making everything remote, or you can only come in one day a week, or if you want to. Me personally, when the Coco Panini showed up, I am like, yes, yes, yes. I do not have to interact with anyone. I do not have to talk to anyone. I can do everything electronically. I can, do this, be on Zooms, be on everything. That makes me feel better because when I'm around other people, that's when that battery starts getting drained. And, again, if we're talking about a cup, let's, instead of cups, we're going to use batteries. When your battery is already on low battery or it's in red, and then you go around other people, like, you never really get charged. That is that being on all the time and feeling like you have to present yourself a certain way. Again, stepping into some place we have no business doing, which is trying to control other people's perceptions of us. That's what we do. That's what we do when we're thinking about other people's feelings, how other people may react. We can't control other people's perceptions of us. And as my friend, the one that I was telling earlier in the story that checked her man, she told me to my face that I don't have the right to control anyone's perceptions of me. And then she was like, no, go up and take that off and put some real clothes on so we can go out. So again, like, think about what you can do to begin celebrating yourself, to begin celebrating your own accomplishments, to not have that gut reaction to say something afterwards. And it could simply start with, having a cutoff. You say thank you, and then you limit your comma, hyphen, ... And then it goes to you saying thank you. You want to say so much more. You're essentially like biting the side of your cheek. Not literally, but you know what I mean? Like so bad, I want to say it, but you don't. And then doing that more often leads you to it. It's like a natural transition. Like, yeah, I'm celebrating myself, and now what? So again, okay, let me take my notes down and look here in the chat. Also, let me know if any of you that are watching have any questions for me, or you want me to expand on something else. Let me go over them real quick before I hit the chat. Number one is checking with yourself each day. Begin delegating things to people, which is also stop volunteering for work. 3, prioritize your personal goals. What are they? Like, where's your time allocated? Is your time allocated to other people? Because I don't think I went over this. As I'm saying, I'm like, did I go over number 3? I might have skipped it because, anyway, you know how I do. But what are your goals? And that's also, what are your dreams? If you start with your dreams, again, asking yourself, what do you want? What do you need? What are your dreams? And what are the goals that you need to set to be able to achieve those, at least initially, to be able to start? So number 3 is prioritize your personal goals. Prioritize your dreams. Number 4, shut it all down, go somewhere, sit down, be still. Okay. Number 5, engage or re-engage in some of those hobbies that you've either wanted to experience or that you have let fall by the wayside, but you really enjoyed when you did them. Number 6, community. Okay. Surround yourself, reconnect with your friends, start showing up a little bit more, connect with other people that want to see you win, are rooting for you, and celebrate all of your achievements, both big and small, even if it starts with internal, like, did I do that? I did that. Okay. And then work up from there. Eventually, these things will become part of who you are. Again, these building habits based on small changes that lead to monumental growth. It is just a natural transition. The more you do it, the more you are going to grow. Okay, so I don't necessarily see anyone. Guess everybody's quiet today, but let me go ahead and put here. Thank you, Jace, for telling me. So they do the same in the UK, and she's referring to when I said like people just have this like extemporaneous like greetings and salutations. Okay, so they do the same thing in the UK. When I just arrived here, my neighbor asked me, "How are you?" And I start talking, and she starts walking away and looked at me strangely. Since then, my answer is fine. I know that's right. Also, whoa, hold on. Also, Jace said that she's looking on working on accepting help. Um, and you fear the emotional debt. Here's something else too. Again, I say this, I'm not about to say the word because I think it may get me flagged for something. But I typically, if we were in person, I would say that lived my life previously, very binary and with extremes, one extreme, this extreme, and I's and O's. So you either are this or you're that. And the way that my mother raised me, she honestly raised all four daughters to not accept help from anyone because they're always going to throw it back up in your face. You do what you need to do. You take from them, and then you always be prepared because they definitely will. They're always going to expect you to owe them something. That is how I went through life up until I would say maybe like 3, 4 years ago. I viewed it as if I allow someone to help me, then I'm going to owe them. Here's the thing: when you help people, do you expect, like, do you say that they owe you one? Now, obviously, they do. Like in real life, okay, I'm helping them out. So my expectation may be if, when I need help, maybe they will. But I'm asking you, when you help people, is it mandatory that they help you in return? Are you going to throw it back up in their face? If the answer is yes, and again, this is a no judgment. This is a safe zone up here on the Positively Pryl channel. If you do that, it's okay. Now you know an area where you need to stop. And again, when you make change on one end and stuff balances out, it naturally shows up on the other end. So the people that you surround yourself with, yes, if I'm with these older men who only want to be with me because I'm a PYT, a pretty young thing, yes, they're giving me money and I'm allowing you to be seen with me. There is an exchange there. There is definitely someone who's gonna throw something and throw something back up in my face, or they're gonna expect something in return. Y'all know what I mean. But that's those people that I surrounded myself with. As I got older, I started surrounding myself with like-minded individuals that they're helping me because they want to with nothing in return. I'm helping them not expecting anything in return. And actually, it's my pleasure to help them. Now, again, off balance, that's me like, okay, well, I'll get this. I'll do that. I'll help them. No, again, what's that number? Number 2, volunteering for work. We're not volunteering for work, but like, don't view it that way. And guess what? You are grown. If somebody says well, I did this for you, guess what? They are getting demoted from their position on wherever you have placed in your life. They're getting demoted to the next under. We may be friends, or I thought we were friends, but we're only friends until I need something. Okay, well, that's fine. So I'm gonna put you on this list that I may or may not answer your call. Okay, so I don't want you to view it as that, and I know that it's difficult, but again, balance happens when you're all the way down here and you start adding more things to it. This is what happens. And then maybe you're at a point in your life where it does this and you need to recalibrate and reset yourself. So I encourage you. And like I said, okay, and what, are you gonna overpower me? Because we are not slight young women anymore, okay? You are a grown woman who has raised children, who is putting yourself first. And if somebody feels that you owe them something from them helping you, then you have to reevaluate where they are in your life. Yes, okay. And yeah, Jace is saying that Pisces, don't get me cutting up over here. Jace is saying here that she was raised the same way, to never accept help. And she doesn't take anything in return. And, she's working on that. Now, here's the thing, too. We have to talk about the intersections of our culture. And I mean, getting broken all the way down. Like your culture as the country you live in, the part of the state that you live in. Like, do you have two parents? Do you have one parent? Do you have, no parents? Were you raised by your grandparents? What did the church, instill in you and tell you what needs to be done? And then what you as a woman, you as a Black woman, you as a Black Christian woman, or as a Black, fill in the blank woman. There's a lot of things that have overlap, and they are crisscrossing all over each other. So it has been consistently, reinforced to us time and time again from every single influence in our life, many of us from childhood, to be this version of ourselves. And that is what happens when you put other people first, when you allow other people to dictate your what you do, what you don't do, how you live your life, all types of things, emotions. And I'm going to link in the description if you all haven't watched it. And even if you have, I'm going to suggest that you watch it again. But it is, I renamed it, but it is talking about perfection. I believe it's decoding perfection. But at the center of it, it is all the conditioning. And I walk through the various ways that we've been conditioned to be that high performing Black excellence, puts everybody first, is going to college, has 10 kids, is a wife, takes care of her parents, volunteers at the church, volunteers at the puppy shelter, all of these things. That has led us to being overworked. That has led us to being burnt out. That has led us to this place, or again, I will speak for myself. That is what led to the place where I did not know who I was anymore, because that part had been washed away. It had been so diluted that I didn't know who I was. I was no place. I was no place close to the version of myself that, at 45, 46, whatever, and I have a milestone birthday coming up here very soon, but, like, to being where I thought I would be at this point. And then I beat myself up over it. And then I picked myself up and, I started down my little path to self-discovery. All right. So, okay, look, you know how I say I am not going to be before you long. I'm going to link in the description. Again, if you are not watching the 30 Days of Gratitude, that's fine. I'm going to continue to put it. I'm probably going to put it in every single video from now until, I don't know, probably all of 2024. But I'm going to, we are in day 3 today. Yes, day 3 is today. I like to post my things at 6 o'clock because that seems to be when everybody is more reactive to it. But I may also have to have it post at 6 in the AM because I really want people to have it when they start their day. So if you don't see me post anything tonight and you see something that pops up tomorrow in the morning or what have you, that's the reason why. Because I have to finish editing the words part that, karaoke that goes across the screen. So the 30 Days of Gratitude, I also am going to put Decoding Perfection, a link to that video in the description as well. And I created a playlist. So I created that today. So I'm going to add the little playlist link hold on, it's not little. I'm going to add the playlist link for the 30 Days of Gratitude. So at any time, any one of my videos, you can always get there. Or you can just look and click on the playlist. So do I have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything before I get ready to hop off? I see that there's a few more people that are here now than than when I started. So thank you for joining, and let me know if there is anything that you want to, comment on. And as always, I love to continue this conversation in the comments. If you are watching from the future, Hey, then go ahead and let me know in the comments what your thoughts are, how you feel about self prioritization. What are some of the ways that, you know, or like thoughts that hobbies, things like that that came to mind. I would love to hear from you. So, okay, everyone, I like we're pushing up on my curfew, okay? Because when I say I'm not going to be before you long, I mean it. So, last call for anyone who wants to put something. Okay. Then I'm gonna go ahead and speaking of shut it down, I'm about to shut this down. Thank you to everyone who has watched. Thank you to everyone on the replay. I would love for you to like this video and more importantly than the likes. I mean, I want you to like the video, but I really want you to share it with other Black women. Check out the 30 Days of Gratitude. Please share that with other Black women that need to hear it. And I will see you all next week. Okay, thank you. Bye.